We held several meetings. I did a leaflet drop, and I got residents together. I could foresee problems, which I've been proven right. It's alright for the people who live in the 2 or 3 streets away, just walk past in the morning and come home in the evening, who don't associate in the park, who don't live next to the park, but they see it as, oh, the park, oh, look, it's looking lovely this morning, because the council workers have been in there 7:15 in the morning. They don't see the total background of the park. They don't have to put up with the noise. They don't have to put up with the men urinating in the park. They don't have to put up with the fact of ladies pulling their pants down and pooing up against your back door, your back fence. That's just not right, surely. You've got families, I've got children. That's not right to be coming outside and seeing. The police called and gave an ASBO warning to the one gentleman concerned, because when the police officer came, he was a PCSO, the gentleman's actually just finished doing his trousers up. Well, the officer said, I didn't see him peeing, but I'm going to give him an ASBO warning. Now, they went inside there and they're rummaging through it and scattering the personal belongings all over the place, which caused great upset to the family when they've lost a loved one. It was all waiting to be taken away by the council. It was all over the road, all over the pavement. It's just not the way to carry on. And I think the neighbours have just about had enough of it. It's the Czech community, which is what we did try and do previously in the past. If we managed to get the ringleaders or find out who they were quite good. And you say, no, come on, boys. And we tried to organise football, basketball, but they didn't turn up. But it's a case of they've got the right to live here. They're part of the European Union. They've got the right to live here. But it's a certain way of living. We asked what was done about it, and we were told that's their culture. Girl must have been between 11 and 12, it might be 13, but no older than 13 years of age, but with a grown man. Now, if I'd done that in the park, or you'd done that in the park, we'd be paedophiles, and rightly so. And we'd be locked up and punished, and rightly so. Now, for us to be told in a packed community centre that that was their culture and it had to be explained to them, is absolutely shocking. A girl sitting actually on top of a man on a bench in the park. That was prior to the work being done in the park. Always drug taking going on in the park. There's always cars bombing around here picking up the young girls in the evening. BMWs, VW, Volkswagen, Golfs and Mercedes. Very often back, and the police are aware of it, that there's a problem with prostitution in the area. It's been brought up on 3 of the different pack meetings where cars come bombing around, pick up the young girls. The girls at one point, which I mentioned, I was approached myself and asked if I wanted a cigarette. Will you buy cigarettes? £5, I give you a nice time. My son turned around and said, Daddy, that man's taking the girl's panties down. And up against one of the actual children's play pieces of equipment, there was a man, I say a man, an older youth with a girl. The police turned up and the police officer said, do you mind me having a word with your son? Now my son's 5 years of age, sat in a child seat in the front of the car. There has been fighting in the park, but not, that's not a regular occurrence. I wouldn't say it's a regular occurrence. It's the noise which is a regular occurrence, and the park being locked up late, and the Czechs climb over the railings. I've never known any English, French, German, Welsh, local people to climb over the fence, put it that way. Every time I've had a film 101, it's been due to the Czechs climbing over. They said a lot of them come up from the Splot area. And the reason they come out from the Splot area is because they do their drug dealing, they do their own little dealing. And the boys from the youths and the teenagers of Splot won't put up with them and beat them up. So they come up to this area where they feel safer. They need to know and learn, really, they've got to fit into the community. We'd asked to one of the ringleaders to organise football in the Muga or basketball, and they didn't turn up for that. It's devalued property in the area. It's more run down than it's ever been, and I think the neighbours have just had enough of it. And I've actually spoken to the neighbours in the last week. We're actually asking for another meeting with the council to see what can be done.
Yeah, I live in this block because my friends here play sometimes football, you know. Loads of my friends live in the city though, so I come every day over here. Why?
Yeah.
All because, you know, man, just like that was all my family here, you know.
Okay.
My auntie, uncle, everybody, so we drive here as well. Czech Republic. There's loads of problems in Czech, like they no jobs in Czech Republic, no like money in it, loads of different people like races, you know, nowadays. So it's much better here. It's like some of them as well, yeah, but it's loads of good people here. I like here.
Okay.
Just sitting there, chilling, chatting, smoke weed, all that.
No, they all stay.
I'm a good guy. I'm gonna stay away from that.
You're all good.
So because we just chilling, hanging around, smoking weed, play football, like that. This blood pack is loads of like young boys like us, but they make good troubles, you know, they wanna fight with us, and all that, you know. And over here is quiet, you know, so that's
Okay. Yeah. So it's a good.
okay.
bro.
What's this? It's movie about Shelly Garden, man.
Shelly Garden, yeah?
Yeah.
Come talk it over.
No, man, no. Camera's not bad for me, you know, but if it goes in my pocket, it'll be very good.
Yeah.
Go outside and make a troubles. Only drunk, but sometimes we're drinking.
Another way is going
Loads
to
of
raise
smoke
money.
weed.
What's that?
Another way is going to raise money, innit?
You raise money. Yeah. How's that? How's that work?
Yeah? Turn the camera off and I'll tell you. Don't even show him.
He's a dickhead. He was in jail now, innit? He just comes from a jail, from racing, robbing people, it's mad boy, this one. Just making every time money, but he not going to jail. I never do troubles on the streets.
No.
It's better working with your hands, man. Making money with your hands. Yeah, chicken factory, Cardiff Bay. I'm a good guy.
You know, you sort of recognise people who live on our street, and we've got, I know, like a couple of doors up from us, there's a Polish family or group of friends who live together, but no, you just kind of get to know some people and maybe not others, like, you know, the new, I guess all the Roma folk, we don't really know them, but we have, like, you know, there's some families living on our street as well, you see the kids around. In the last few years, I don't know, there's always been a big sort of mixed population. I don't think things have changed massively in the last 5 years, but some places have been improved, like Shelly Gardens here. I think the shops and things like that are always changing, you know, every year you've got new restaurants, new shops coming and going. And some new folk, so I suppose, you know, lots of new East European folk from Poland and other parts. I think because you live in a city, a lot of the time you kind of ignore each other. You know, I think like, you know, when you're in the park or something, I mean, you probably have more of a connection with people who have children. So if you're in the park, yeah, well, whether they're Roma, whether they're Polish, whether they're from Cardiff, like, you know, you'll say hello, like, you know, because the kids will start to mess about together. I'd say it's nicer now. I think because you haven't got much green space, this is like, you know, these places are very busy on a good day. And you know, you see, I mean, everyone comes here. But I did have a colleague who was attacked a couple of months ago. We're walking through this space. Just some guy sort of accosted him, asking him for money, and gave him a thump, like, you know. I mean, he was fine. I don't know if it was actually in this actual little stretch here, you know, or whether it was just past towards, just maybe a little past towards Elm Street there. It was, I don't think it was a very effective crime if he was actually after cash. I mean, I think what they have done here has because more people are using it, I think that has been the big thing that's improved it. Just small investments, just to like make use of, like, you know, bits of green space, I think is a good thing. There's a lot of people that live here. One of the things they've been doing as well is sticking gates on alleys and just locking alleys down, which again, like, you know, a lot of people, I mean, I can understand why residents might be concerned about fly tipping and antisocial behaviour, but putting putting bars and padlocks on things, I don't think actually addresses the issue. It can only sort of push it elsewhere, and I think to some degree it makes people feel like they're living in a sort of fortress in a way. I think encouraging people to get out and to use the space and to get out their cars as well is the big thing. It's quite transient in Roath. I think you have a lot of people come and stay for a time and then maybe move on. You do have some families who stay and, you know, and buy in to the community, you know, buy a home, but there's a lot of people renting. There's a lot of people who I think move on after a few years. I wouldn't say I don't think it's particularly strong community, because you've got a lot of people of different backgrounds. I mean, you do have quite a lot of students as well, and you've got people who are working, and there are quite a lot of people who I make a guess who I see during the daytime who are out of work for whatever reason. So I think like binding those together, like if they were bound together, like I'd say there was a real sense of a strong community. I think like this is a good example of where, you know, some of the local people are trying to do something to improve what is an inner city area, really. I think if the council supported locals to improve their sort of streetscape, and I think like investing a bit of time in maybe greening some of those spaces would bring people out more, and then they would connect more. But like a lot of people live behind their front door, and then they get in the car and you know, they don't interact so much, I think.